While war raged in the south and the rangers of the north were absent, brigands and ruffians took an opportunity to wrest control of Bree.
Ah, good, the reinforcements have arrived. It's good to see the free peoples rising. I wish I could help. I stormed the grate 30 minutes ago, and this wound for the trouble. Got this wound for the trouble. The enemy is greatly entrenched. Their defenses extend from the south gate back to the town hall. It is up to you now. Reclaim Bree for the free peoples. Yay! Welcome, this is Pine Leaf Needles, and this is our third episode in our timeline for the skirmishes, where we are running Thievery and Mischief, a skirmish that is set in Bree, the first of two that are set in Bree. So our question is, why is this one third? Now we do have a fairly decent date as to when this skirmish takes place. We know that it was set soon after the new year. That's said by Barliman Butterbur in the books, where he mentions that there was an incident in Bree where brigands had come into the town right after the new year, around the time of a large snowstorm. And now we have the snowstorm, evidence of that all around here. And that's punctuated by what happens at the end, which we'll save for later. Now, I am running this as a duo. I know I said in my previous one that's generally better to run tier 2 rather than as a duo, since the rewards are much better as a tier 2. But in this case, I thought the little extra challenge of doing the boss fight in the group method instead of as the solo would make it a better run in this case. So that is why I'm running this in duo rather than as a single player with a tougher setting on it. Now, the other thing, of course, is that we will get a few extra debuffs here from our various opponents, such as those caltrops we saw earlier. Now, we tend to get either an elite and a normal, or two signatures and a normal in each of the... Alright, that wasn't a very good idea. I suspected he might have been a little too close to the lieutenant there. Get out of the caltrops. That's the thing you need to worry about when you're in groups in this skirmish, are the caltrops that fall over the place. Now for the Pale Trapper. The Pale Trapper has an extra trick up his sleeve. Actually, that's probably what he blew his horn for last time, maybe. Is this going to be... Yeah. Look, he throws a slow right there. Haha! That's not going to hurt me much if it's way here instead of where I was, but the Trapper has never been known for putting things right where you were. The Pale Trapper is more of a channeler in this type, where he puts a spot where you pretty much want to avoid. Especially when he puts the fire in there. You might wind up being inside of it, but there's a possibility you won't be there either. If you're in the fire, you probably want to get out. And if you like moving around a bit, and going to a particular location, it might pin you in or something like that. But the Pale Trapper's not really all that tough of a foe. It's not like running into a Daywalker Berserk or something like that. And here's an elite. Watch out for the caltrops. Captains here. I think captains are the ones who really like those caltrops. Well, maybe that's not the captains who like. I know someone out here likes caltrops. I ran into a couple of them already. I just wasn't paying attention as to which mob it was. Now, hails don't drop caltrops in any case. It's only the signatures and above who do that. Alright, crashing of plates. Alright, we got that encounter, which is going to be down in that direction. Now that's the encounter that I most often am going to forget to do. Now someday they have got to add some variety to the attire of these brigands. They did it for the half-orcs at some point. So we've got some nice varieties of what the half-orcs look like, but all the brigands look the same. Oh goody, a blood rook. Well, fortunately, their quantities aren't much larger in groups than they are, so at least not in small groups like this. In a raid, you start to get some large numbers in there. In that case, a blood rook can be taken a little bit more seriously. Alright, now I'm doing this in recklessness. I don't think there's any need for me to go into another stance at this time. And there we go. Now let's take care of that goblin here. An elite master, but since he's got that 33% off nerf on him, he should be doable. Without any trouble, since I have done encounter bosses before in duo. Poison. Now, I suppose if I thought about it, I might have done something like go into the tanking stance, but it looks like that 33% of his skills is means he's not hitting much. And that's the reason why duos can be quite soloable. Duos have always been very, very tough to tweak. At the very beginning, they had what I think was probably a good place for the trash mobs. Meaning, those percentages made the trash mobs just about right for a small group. For a group of two. So that a group of two could handle them and not be overwhelmed. Unfortunately, you did have a couple of trash mobs that were problems, such as the couple in Dananglore, or the later ones, where they might have been troublesome for twosome. But it was mostly bosses and the like, where the boss fights were a bit tough on a pair. Well, that... Right, so what I did is I decided to see what happens if I went towards them first. And see if I could take out both the ones I could see, and of course it meant that the one behind that I normally would get managed to splatter me instead, but better to get splattered with one than two, I guess. was just afraid that I would have fouled it so much up that I would have been splattered by all three. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. Now, where are we? Okay, everything is down, so let us take this and drop back. I know dropping back is probably a little bit of overkill. I could probably just face it up in front. In fact, I think most do, but I'd like to see what lieutenant I'm facing and prepare if it's reasonably possible. Oh, okay, it's the half-orc captains that drop the caltrops. Ouch, 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 ouch. Oh, my poor feetses. Good thing I'm wearing snow boots today. Oh, well. I didn't think it was worth popping an anti-stun skill on that one. There we go. Alright, and that is done for that. See, we have some nice variety on the half-orcs. I think they should do something similar for the brigands. Of course, they do need to be distinct from the half-orcs. Alright. Okay, no, we don't want to attack him now because we know who's going to get those blades. And we don't want to attack the guy with the blades. No siree. And in case you're wondering why I don't like hitting the guy with the blades, is because they have a 200% reflect on them. Yes, if you look at that. Well, okay, it's off now. That's a 200% reflect. Plus caltrops. 200% reflect, and that's a pretty nasty hit back at you, especially if you're a glass cannon or anything like that. I know wards are anything but a glass cannon. Now, well, it's not as true today, but I'm sure that someone once probably described a warden as a stainless steel straw or something like that. In other words, noted more for their defensive abilities than their offensive, so I don't think it's as much of an issue today when you got, because that was back before they added I think that was before recklessness existed or anything like that. Actually, no, I think recklessness existed always, but anyway, before they bumped up the damage for them. Now, let's see how it goes. Oh, Zealot. Alright, let's see who's in the party today. Oh, okay, the Sharkies captains do drop. Why didn't the one I had earlier do that? Alright. Oh. Very well. Alright. Looks like all the captains then do it. Ouch, 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 ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Okay. Oh, attack him, please. And alright. Very well. And the pig. Sounds of snorting come from the northeast because we've got a pig running around. Why there's a pig running around Bree, I don't know. You would think that if there were a pig running around Bree with all these brigands around, that the brigands would have sent someone after the pig so they could have a big feast. Oh, that looks like it's going to be fun. Alright. Here you go, brigand. That doesn't much of trouble. There we go. As I said, the main advantage I can see, other than the lieutenant deeds, which the only lieutenant that this skirmish can provide me that I haven't already completed, at least in duo mode, is the Brood Queen, since there are no flesh gorgers in this skirmish. There we go. Alright, here we go, Gortusk. Now, he's not too tough an opponent. I've always found that goblin to be a little bit tougher, especially if you don't have a way to get around poisons. Now that we have first aid around on the warden, that's no real major issue. And of course, if you didn't have first aid, there were always pots you could use. But it's seeing the poison and reacting to it that may have been tricky. Alright, now the hulking pounder. This is, in some ways, I think of it as a tougher version of the Forspawn Reaver, because he is able to one-shot soldiers. Oh. Yeah, stun me and then go after my soldier. How nice and polite. Alright, well, I'll see about that later. Now, this is the reason why I'm running it duo, is because this means the double fight that we've got here. Since the larger the group you're running, the more bosses you have. In a raid, in fact, you have 4 of them, which makes it a real nice, fun festivity. And here we have Matt Heathertoes, one of the casualties mentioned by Barleyman Butterbur when he discusses this particular item. Maybe I better turn on Never Surrender. I should have had that on long ago. Right. So hopefully I won't be needing it. But now both of these are Elite Masters, which is even nerfed Elite Masters. That should be a little bit of a challenge there. Why not have a little something to eat just in case? Never know what's going to happen. Just to make sure that nothing untoward happens. So let's buff up a little bit, and now we can go in. Now this guy likes to slow you down. This guy, he doesn't seem to have any buffs on the goods. Only in larger modes where he starts to have those nasty heal his friend type buffs. Yeah. Well, he does have his old disarm. Actually, I guess I take that back. He does have his... I guess it doesn't turn on until he... Right. Yeah. So he has an aura that heals his friends. That's why you gotta take him down first. Now, when I'm in a group, we separate them so they're not close together. So his friend doesn't get the buff. And that's the primary way of doing it then, right? Because he multiplies max morale by 125 and plus 50% healing modifier. And he likes to bring up totems, of course. And this is his aura of leadership. Increases max morale and incoming healing. Anyway, so we take him down first to make things a little bit easier. So now bulk stats won't have the buff. Now, as I said, I prefer to separate them when we're in a group. And usually when you're doing a real one, they have 4 of them. You try to keep all 4 of them separated. 4 tanks going in there, trying to come up with the right order in which to kill them all. It's all real fun. Because you've got one in there who's doing healing, so obviously you take down the healer first. One who puts up some really nasty... I think there are wounds all over the place. And then you got Mr. Slows and Mr. Grant extra morale to everybody. So it makes it a real interesting fight when you have more than one character. And that's it! There is more to do. The world is besieged by evil, but for tonight we may celebrate a great victory. Yeah, let's go to the Prancing Pony, which is, of course, our next skirmish. Until then, this is Pine Leaf Needles. May your shield protect you, and your spear never break.